Good morning or afternoon, depending on which class period you're watching this from. We're just going to be taking a quick review over our basic HTML syntax and some of the tags that we've learned so far. And then I'm going to introduce to you the project or micro project that you're going to be working on, just a really simple website. So I've got Visual Studio Code open here, and I've got the HTML basics. I've got HTML basics open on the side, and I've got index.html. Now, you probably have some code left in here from our time in class, but just in case you don't, and for the point of review, we're going to be rebuilding our boilerplate code and explaining what we're doing as we go. So let's just kind of get started. Now, for autofilling doc type, which is the first tag that we always have to have, for some reason, doc type needs to be given the opening little caret there, the opening bracket. Most other tags, you can just start writing the tag you want and you'll get it. But when it comes to doc type, you have to just go ahead and type shift comma to get that bracket. And then I can just go ahead and hit enter, and that'll give me the rest of doc type. So that's pretty darn straightforward, actually. The next step to take is, well, actually, first of all, let's talk about what doc type is. Now, doc type, I guess I could just write this here. That'll work out. Doc type is is used to tell your browser. So we'll say tells your browser which version of HTML this document is. More specifically, we are using HTML5 for this project. Next up, we have to create the HTML tag. And sorry, I might have done that too fast. I'll do it again here. So for HTML tag and for pretty much every other tag but doc type, if I just start writing the tag that I want HTML, cool. I hit enter, and it makes the opening and closing tags for me. And I'll just give myself some space. Remember, HTML does not care about how many blank spaces you have or anything like that. It's merely organizational. So the HTML tag does have a pretty important purpose, so let's cover that. This tag is also known as the root tag. And I'm going to be erasing this stuff later, so you don't have to type this in. This is just to give you notes when I don't have a whiteboard. So this tag is also known as the root tag, and it more or less just tells your browser where all the HTML is, or that everything in between the two is going to be HTML. So it's more of a formality than anything else, but we are expected to have it to get our website to work properly. Excuse me. Okay. Now that we need to write everything else inside of the HTML tag, or in between these here, since we're going in between a pair of tags, that means we need to indent. So we can press the tab key. That'll let us indent one time. And then we're going to need to create the head. And I can just type head. And as soon as I see this Emmet abbreviation come up with what I want, I can hit enter, or I can actually just click on it. Enter is faster. The more you can do with the keyboard, the less you have to move your hands, and therefore it's faster. We're not going to put anything in the head just yet, but the head is for metadata, so we'll go ahead and put that there. Used for metadata. So again, this is not stuff you have to write down. It's just used for metadata. And just so you know, metadata, let's see, information that changes the way a site looks, but not the content of the site, generally speaking. So it's like the way the site looks, and I should also add, and potentially the way the site behaves, because you can link scripts, which we won't be making any, but you can link a script into the head. So Then we're going to go below the head. Now notice we didn't go into the head, so we're staying on the same indent level because we're inside or in between HTML, but we're not between anything else. And then we're going to make the body. The body is where all of the content of your page goes. Pretty simple. These are the kind of boilerplate, like the basic outline tags that you need to have. There are others, especially that go into the head, but we're keeping things extremely simple right now, and you do not need a lot of the metadata just to get your website working. So I'm going to go ahead and press Control S to save that. If you're on Mac, that's going to be Command S to save. Results will be the same. That's just so that I don't lose anything if something weird happens. All right, now I'm going to go into the body for the next few tags just to kind of get set up. And because I'm in the body, I need to make sure that I have indented an extra level. So we can see I've got 1 and then 2, or sorry, 0 indent, 1 indent, 2 indent. Just make sure that we're jumped over because we are now in between HTML and in between bodies. So since we're between 2 tags, we need to indent twice, basically. Okay, now I've actually created myself a bunch of extra spaces here, so I'll just do that. And IntelliJ does try, or not IntelliJ, sorry, that's what we use in programming class. Visual Studio does not really, or Visual Studio tries to help you with indenting. I actually only had to press tab once to jump over here. It knows where I should be. Okay, so now for the other tags that we've covered. We have the level 1 heading, H1. And we know that there are actually 6 levels of heading, so I can actually put here H1 through H6. Although, if I write it like that, it's going to think I'm trying to make H6. So I'll just write H6. You can have H1 up through H6. And these are just different levels of heading. Not to be confused with header. You can actually see that when I started writing that the word header comes up. That is a different tag from the concept of a section heading. So that's what these different H's are for. And so, of course, to create different levels of heading, I can simply press H2, or I can do H3, H4, and so on. So it's pretty straightforward and easy to get the different subheadings that you might need. Now, what about a paragraph of content? Well, the paragraph tag is just P. So if I press P, hit enter, there's my opening and closing paragraph tag. And this is a paragraph of text. And in fact, let me go ahead and go back here and just say that's a level 1 heading. And because it shouldn't cause any problems, but just in case, I'm going to get rid of this other stuff. You can always go back in the video to see it if you need it. And I'm going to go ahead and save again, Control S or Command S, depending on your platform. And then I'm going to come over here on the left, right-click on index.html, and then just open with Live Server. I could also remember this Alt-L, Alt-O, but I'm a little worried people would mess that one up. So anyway, open with Live Server. And it should go ahead and be opening up for me. Okay, it popped up over here. Let's bring it up. All right, and so I can see this is my H1 right here, and this is my paragraph right here, P. So really easy to just kind of get a super basic website created. The only other tag that we've learned about at this point is the line break tag. Now, the line break is a self-closing tag. It is BR, and so if I just start typing in BR, I could drop a line, save that. Oh, I foolishly closed Live Server. You can leave Live Server open, and so that dropped it down to another line. And if I want to get, like, say, if I wanted to double space here, this isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but it's the only way we have right now. So if I wanted to get a double space, I could just put 2 line breaks and it would actually double space for me. So I'm going to minimize this, and let's just go ahead and add another one. Personally, I actually kind of find it helpful to make these vertical if I'm doing something like that, or at the very least to keep both line breaks on the same line. However, as long as you try to keep it legible, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So if I save this and then I switch back, you can see that I've given myself an extra line break. So I broke here, and then I broke again right here, and so I've actually got like a kind of a double spacing of my line. Again, not the only way to accomplish this kind of a thing, but it's the only way we know at the moment. So I'm going to keep that out of the way. All right, so as a really quick recap, we have the doc type tag, which is like the initialization of our page, and it just tells our browser that this is HTML5. Then we have the HTML tag, or the root tag, which kind of just tells our browser that, hey, everything you're about to see is going to be HTML, and when you see the closing bookend, that is the end of the HTML I'm going to give you. And then finally, we've got, or not finally, but we've got the head tag. The head tag is for metadata. We haven't really learned much about metadata yet, but we know that it doesn't affect the content of our page. It doesn't actually create page content, but it does affect how that content is displayed. Then we have the body. The body is where all of our page content goes, whether that's pictures, text, videos, whatever. And then we've got the H1, and we have that up through H6, so the different levels of headings which we can use to create section headings. And then we have the paragraph tag, which lets us create paragraphs of text. And then we have the line break tag, which there's actually just the one technically. The line break tag, which lets you simply, create a new line or force a new line. The only other way to get a new line normally is for the paragraph to run out of horizontal space. So if your line is long enough to run out of horizontal space, it'll automatically drop a line. And I can actually show this to you really quick, but I'll probably need a little bit more text in this. So let's just kind of throw a bit out there. Okay, cool. And then save that. Go back. Okay, so you can see here we've kind of got the one line. Oh, got it all minimized. Let's bring that back. Got my orange background going. All right. So here we go. So as you can see, as the paragraph runs out of space on my browser window, it'll drop lines, basically. But this is out of your control and is not a good way to set up a website. You always want to be in control of what you're seeing and aware of what's exactly going to happen so you can present the best possible experience to a potential user. Okay, so let me bring this up here. Drop this back down. So the question is, what are you actually doing for your project? So this project is where this project is going to have you create sort of like a journal. And so I'm going to give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. You're going to have three level 1 headings. And for each level 1 heading, you're going to be describing 1 month in the past year. So for example, we have, let's see, February 2023. So that's the last month. Then I want you to go below that one and add a level 2 heading and 2 level 2 headings actually. And then for each level 2 heading, I want you to either talk about an event that happened, or I want you to make one up. So it could be a true story, or it could be just like total fantasy. So let's say here's an example of a real event. Actually, if I just switch this to March so that I'm accurate, an example of a real event could be something like, ACT testing occurred. And then I want below every second level heading a paragraph of information about it. And again, this could be totally fake information. It could be totally real information. So like 300 students perished from the stress that the ACT wrought upon their weary souls. Okay, so something like that. 10 teachers also lost their minds. I should also be putting a line break there. Yep. 10 teachers also lost their minds due to inconsistent timing amongst their ranks. And then probably 2 line breaks again. Sorry, I'm just filling out garbage text. The teachers did get Panda Express for free, though. So that was good. And so we can save and jump back. And so you see March 2023. And then we have a subheading for an event that happened. And I've given some details. You know, you can kind of have fun with this. I'm just making stuff up here, except for the free Panda Express. That was pretty great. So, yeah, we've got the free Panda Express and students perishing from exhaustion or whatever. And so if I jump back and get rid, actually I'll keep that paragraph. I'm going to edit it out anyway. So then I need another heading, or another level 2 heading. Let's see, what's another thing that happened in March? We'll just make something up. We'll say Mr. Carnes decides he cannot teach anymore. And then due to frequent questions that demonstrate general ignorance and a lack of attentiveness, line break, Mr. Carnes decided that he should stop teaching before he has a mental breakdown. Okay, so we can save that. All right, so this is what I am looking for. I am looking for you to have a H1 that has a month from the past year, you know, roughly the past year. And then I am looking for an event, either real or made up, in an H2. And then below that H2, I'm looking for a paragraph. And then I'm looking for another H2, and below that I'm looking for a paragraph. And I want 3 of these groupings. Okay? So you're going to have a total of 3 H1s, 6 H2s, and 6 paragraphs. And however many line breaks you might need to get this to look good. Because that's pretty much the only styling tool you have available to you. So it's a very easy assignment. You shouldn't really have any trouble doing it. You can help each other out, although don't let anybody, or don't do anyone's work for them. And, you know, have a little bit of fun with it. You can kind of let your creativity fly here. Doesn't have to be real events. It can be totally fake. Mostly, I'm just trying to give you a chance to practice your headings and paragraphs. So, yeah, that is going to be it. Thank you for watching. Good luck and have a good day. I'll see you next week.